This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
What a great morning. Look at what I have got now. This is Shidulu. We have just found Shidulu now by the Viotella access. Shidulu is doing some hunting at the moment. A very, very good morning and welcome to the beginning of the show. I am Sydney Pumunani Mikosi. I am with Senzo and we are going to try by all means to get you see the best experience ever. For in case if you need our attention, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. I don't want to lose Shidulu. So I can see that she is on her hunting mood. So there are impalas around here. She just went past them earlier and now she's looking at this side. Maybe she's looking at something or she's looking for something much smaller than the impala at the moment. And the weather is so very perfect at the moment. It's overcast, the wind is not there. So this is the best weather to conduct hunting. She's not looking at anything at the moment. She is just keep checking and going in circles. She's just highly concentrating on anything, any noise at the moment. And this is quite a beautiful cat. Look at that. So let me just pull further and see if we can have a good sighting. So now let's quickly go to Jamie, who's got some of the competitors when food is available, the hyenas.
Indeed, they would be very competitive if there were food available, but for now, what we're watching is the interaction between two adult hyena at the den site. The one in front being incredibly submissive to the one standing with its bottom towards us. So it's approached in very, very cautiously, almost apologetically. It was almost as though it was apologizing for its own existence as it walked in. It is a male from what I can see, but I will need some help with IDs because we're back at the Juma den and I need to do some homework. I haven't had time yet. I'm sorry. Very good morning to all of you. My name is Jamie and this morning Dave is on camera with me. And as you know, I've been desperate to get to the hyena den for a considerable period of time. Now here we are with a female that is neither corky nor pretty. I'm pretty sure it's a female. Gonna be a tricky one with all that mud covering its fur. Ooh, maybe not. No, it is. It looks like it might be. Young female, perhaps. Walking across towards the den. Oh, there is, of course, the case of the mystery cub. Although apparently it was seen suckling from Pretty. We'll figure it out, I promise. Okay, we're just going to let this male wander past us. Off it goes, wandering. Now, I've got plans for today. I'm thinking if we don't have any luck at this den, which I think we're going to because already we've got two hyenas, we're going to go and check the Philemon's cutline den. Just because Ribbon and Tima have been hanging out around there, and I'm curious to see whether or not they're using two different den sites, which does happen with one clan. This hyena's gone to the entrance to the den. I'm just going to slowly make my way. I think she heard the approach of that hyena, which is what caused her to move over there. She doesn't look like a mother, though. Let's find out. Where's everybody? No sign of Pretty or Corky. I'm very excited for Sydney getting to see Shidulu. I, of course, have never seen Shidulu. Ooh, how's that, Darby? Good. I've never seen Shidulu. I did try and peek at her while I drove past him this morning on the way to the den, but I refused to be deterred from my mission. girl. She is very muddy. Very, very muddy. I know that June has been spending a lot of time at this den. I've been hopeful that she has cubs, because if she does, what that will mean for me is that it's my first generational jump, if that makes any sense. My first time watching a cub go from a cub to an adult and having cubs of her own. And this is looking quite positive. I just had a feeling there was a third hyena using this den. Now, if she's lower ranked than the other two females using the den site with her, then she would be more inclined to come here whenever they're not here, in order to look after her cubs. Right, I just want to reply to... Oh, no. Hold on. Okay, cool. Brent's on it. He is answering one of our trainees who's calling in on the Game Drive radio for the very first time. Terribly sweet. Oh, they grow up so quickly these days. We're going to sit and wait patiently with great excitement for the cubs to come out. The man who is even more excitable than myself next to hyenas, well, I know what I mean. Off you go across to Brent so he can say good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the Bushwalk. My name is Brent Leo Smith, and I'm striding at a rate of knots towards Philemon's cut line. We're going to go see if we can find Hosanna, the little prince of Djuma. Now, hopefully, he's probably around where he had that kill yesterday. So, last night, did he come and drink at the dam camp? I think he might have. He would have been quite thirsty after all that meat. Now remember, if you have any questions for us, hashtag SafariLive on Twitter is the best way to get hold of us, or you can just pop your questions on the YouTube feed. Now, it is a wonderful morning for walking, but it's also a wonderful morning for leopards hunting. Back to Sydney.
So I am now approaching the beautiful Shidulu, who is now trying to stalk the impalas at the moment, and is just using the available cover. Everything is perfect at the moment, and nobody is spotting him, and I can see that he is slowly moving, approaching, and he's camouflaging very nicely. So the impalas are not aware of this cat here. You can see the impalas are there, they are stationary feeding, and he is just here. Look at him there. He is slowly moving in between the grasses, avoiding detection by all means. So, but he's still a little bit far. It's not very close, and these grasses might disturb him. Maybe he's going to manage to maneuver in between those grasses there. Look at the potential targets. I will update you. No. They are saying it's Tandy. They are saying this is Tandy, not Shidul. So look at that. A very good morning and welcome to the very special broadcast. I am Sydney Mikosi, and I am right live from the western side of the Greater Kruger National Park. I have got this cat who is trying to hunt here at the moment. My camera operator is Senzo, and hopefully this cat is going to get something to eat this morning. Look at that. So this cat is just now targeting the impalas who are not very far away from where she is. It's just that now there is a problem, as there is quite a lot of dry grass where she is, and this grass might give her a problem. So she doesn't want to spoil the hunt. She is very much patient, and she can see these impalas moving at the back. So all these impalas are passing by, and there is a very nice available cover. They are not very far. The chances of this cat to catch something, they are very high at the moment. Look at that. She is slowly moving. As the impalas are moving forward, she is also trying to get much closer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wait a little bit until this cat moves further, and then see if we can get closer again, so that we can see what is going to happen clearly. And there is a nyala not very far from where this cat is. Look at that. That nyala is on a very short distance. And that is the nyala which can maybe be the first animal to spot, or can be the potential target. John, I am also very impressed. This leopard is so very patient. Look at that. And moving very slowly. You can see this leopard is very skilled. Look at that. Let's hope nothing is spotting him. So you can see that now this leopard is moving very slowly, getting closer every time. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So this leopard is getting closer and closer. So this leopard might run at any time from now. It's just that where I am is a little bit difficult to see. Nina, the leopards, they do miss their hunt a lot because these animals can be able to hear them. Sometimes they can smell them. If the wind direction changes, chances of the wind to alert the prey, they're always very high. So the environmental factors also play a very much important role. When the wind is too much, it's a challenge. And when there's no available cover, also becomes a challenge. And the other animals as well, small animals who are concentrating much more high up by the trees, such as the squirrels, can also have a wide vision and alert the animals on the ground. Look at that. This cat is slowly approaching. This is actually an interesting hunt. Look at that. In between these bushes, we can see the movement every time. Maria, leopards don't really hunt in packs, but don't get confused, because when the leopard has got the babies, they've got to train their babies how to hunt. Sometimes you will see the old ones together with their babies conducting hunt together. That is just a learning period for the little ones to learn to understand how to conduct hunting. So normally they are solitary and they hunt just by themselves. They don't coordinate hunting. This leopard is getting much closer. Look at the ears. Look at that. Look at how this leopard is moving. A paka, these kind of animals, they take something which is between 18 and 25 kilograms. Sometimes they can also take 40 kilograms. Look at that. I am going to follow here. I can see that this leopard is getting much closer every time. I think there is also a tiger here. If not only the nyala, there is quite a lot of animals at the background. So I'm just going to move a little bit forward and see if we can be able to spot this cat. Otherwise, I am not going to see what is going to happen here. Janet, the leopards don't hunt every day. So these animals, they hunt after a few days. And if anything presents itself, they can be able to take it. So I can see that now is hunting. It can take 4 or 5 days sometimes before they take their next meal. This leopard is so clever, and I am very much interested on how this leopard is doing this hunting. It's just going cover by cover. This is lovely. So now that leopard is right in these bushes, and I can see that he's still looking forward, targeting one of these prey animals in front. So there's different species here. There's impalas, and apart from the impalas, so we have got the nyala, and we have got a couple of the impalas here at the moment. These impalas and nyalas are very much stationary feeding. They are not aware of the presence of this dangerous cat here at the moment. You can see the dangerous cat is now holding the ground. John, the leopards, they normally take their kill up to the tree because they know the competition is too high. Otherwise, if the kill is on the ground, the animals such as hyenas will come and deprive away the carcass. So their safety place is targeting the trees. And here I have spotted that this leopard is in the middle of the prey. There is a nyala also behind him at the moment. Chances of this group of prey animals to detect his presence are very high, as when he's moving forward, the nyala, which is at the back at the moment, might be able to pick his presence. I don't know how we managed to pass in front of this nyala without noticing his presence. He's already in front of the nyalas. So at the moment, we are not moving. We are very much static, and the engine is off. We are just seeing the vehicle. We are just seeing the cat as well as the prey animals feeding. So we're just going to give him a chance to conduct his hunt. Where we are at the moment, we have got a better visual, and if anything is about to happen, we will be able to see it from here. So that's why we don't want to drive in front. We are just keep following, because otherwise we are going to chase away the prey animals. So it seems like there is something which disturbed them. So when the tail is moving like that, it's showing you that these animals, the internal mood is up to something. So I can hear the impalas on the other side. They are giving off some kind of calls, but I don't think that call has got something to do with him, because the animals which are much closer to him now is the nyalas, and these nyalas are not complaining. They are still busy stationary feeding. Near the possibilities of the prey animals to smell the predators or the leopard at the moment, they are very much high. If the wind changes and favors the prey, they are going to pick it up and run away. And that is what happens in most occasions. So you can see the leopard is very much relaxed at the moment, but still holding the ground, aiming at the prey. So the impalas are still not far away. They are stationary feeding as well. It's just that they moved a little bit, but now I can hear that the situation is calmed, and nyalas are also still pretty relaxed here. So let's just wait and see what is going to happen. So now this is bringing us to the end of the special broadcast. I am going to be here waiting to see what is going to happen. Anything can happen at any time. So now let's go to Jamie, who's got the competitors, food competitors of the leopards, the hyenas.
Well, they're not doing much competing right now. Right. I'm going to take a very short moment to gloat. Just a very little brief moment. I knew that those two cubs did not come from the same litter. I've been watching the footage. I've been saying I don't think, no matter what we saw, if we thought that one cub was suckling from Pretty, that size difference is too much for two cubs to be from the same litter. Look here. Look who's out with this hyena. I think it's June, and I'm almost positive this is her cub, and I'm absolutely thrilled. Hey, look at you. There's no way she'd be treating it like this if it wasn't her cub. Look how gentle she's being. Oh, stranglehold. Roll over. Well done, my girl. Darby, did I say this before or after the cub came out? Before. Just to clarify, this is not a decision made in hindsight. This was said before this cub came out. Okay, I've been saying it for a little while. We still haven't seen it suckle, so I might be wrong. It, of course, leaves us with the mystery of why it was apparently seen suckling from Pretty. I don't know if she didn't notice, or if she's lower ranked, she's taken a bigger knock in the hierarchy than we thought, or if June is higher ranked than we thought. Hey, you little one. Oh, we're slipping all over the show. So, although there is a difference in the development of female and male cubs, there's actually not that big of a sexual dimorphism between the two of them, all right? Males tend to be smaller than the females because of the ranking system and the fact that they don't get as much food generally once they've dispersed, because after that they lose their rank, even if they come from a high-ranked mother. Oh, you cute. Lily says they're just like little human pups, or human babies as we sometimes like to call them, human toddlers. They're very, very active. And of course, this is their perfect, or this is their favorite time to come out, this and in the evening. No, don't move, June. Pretty sure it's her. We're just going to sit very still. No, don't leave. You need to prove my theory correct. Standing by, Lex. Cute, man. I'm hoping June's not gone for good. Lex, it was off Philemon's cut line, just past the Rebecca's Road junction. There you should see the two tracks quite easily running north towards that drainage. It was in the drainage next to a dead milkberry, or in a dead milkberry. Bye. Oh, you've still got June, huh? Well done, Dave. Oh, Dave doing some contortions here to get to see June walking off. Okay, so we don't have evidence yet. We don't have proof. I might be wrong. She hasn't suckled the cub. She was very gentle with it, but that could also be a young mother. Does she look like she's lactating? Just move your tail, June, please. I just didn't see prominent nipples, so I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm not 100% certain. It's difficult with hyenas. My girl, move your tail for me. Okay. I'm going to keep watching. I'll let you know what I see, but we haven't had a chance to see what Brent's up to yet, and we really would like to show you.
Well, welcome. We have found the little prince, Hosanna, on foot. He is close to where that carcass is, and he's just having a snooze in the drainage system. We're probably less than 30 meters from him. We're in a nicer position. We're on high ground above him. But Hosanna is just the most wonderful leopard to walk on foot. Now, unlike Tingana, who tries to sneak away from you, Tundi, who takes you in loops, Hosanna doesn't even try to hide from us. It's unbelievable. It's because we've been walking with him for so long that we are able to get this close on foot to this leopard. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to spend too much time here, as some of the other game drives want to come in, but we will stay for a few minutes. Mrs. Grumpy says, "I love how he's looking at you." Indeed, he's almost completely non-perturbed with our presence. On foot. Hey, my boy. A very, very special leopard indeed. So even though it is Hosana and he is very relaxed, we keep our voice down, keep our movements to a minimum. Now, the older he gets, the less relaxed he's going to become on foot. But for the moment, we've got to enjoy every moment we can on foot or in the vehicle with him as he gets closer and closer to that dispersal age. I've spent sometimes 3 hours of a bushwalk sitting next to him, and in the past his sister. Even Karula was incredibly relaxed on foot. But as male leopards get older and they start getting pushed from their natal territories, they become less and less relaxed on foot. You probably find that their survival instincts kick more in when all the big males are trying to murder them and push them out of territories. So they do seem to lose a bit of that relaxedness that they have, but especially between the years of 1 and about 2.5. And Quarantine was also very similar on foot, very relaxed. Hello Lily, who's 7 years old. Lily would like to know, how close can you get to a leopard on foot? And this is about as close as I would recommend, Lily. You don't want to get too much closer than this. We're about probably 25, 30 meters away. We have been a lot closer in the past, and when you're tracking leopards, often you will actually walk within a meter or two of them, and that is because they rely on camouflage to hide. And if you see them, you don't look at them. You walk past them and then carry on, and once you're a bit more distance away, when they feel comfortable, you look back. So, I mean, Hokomuri, I've nearly stood on before. Tandi, I've nearly stood on before. Hosana, Shongile, Tingana, Karula. I mean, been within 2 meters of all of those leopards. Okay, I can hear the game drives on their way, so we're going to have to skedaddle and go see if we can find some elephants next. Okay, well, from one set of spots to another with Sydney.
So you can see that now this cat is not hunting anymore. He's very much relaxed. The animals, prey animals, are still around and still not yet spotted his presence. So he just decided to relax a little bit there. Now, I know there is a very big confusion as to whether this is Tandi or Shidulu. So I'm just waiting to have a nice clear vision to confirm if it's Tandi or Shidulu. But from my side, this looks more like Shidulu. So Shidulu is concentrating much more in this area here where we are, which is much more Vuyotela access, whereas Tandi is much more in the middle towards Central, sometimes coming to Galagopan and also Torchwood. So mostly the female leopards, they don't welcome each other. Only when they're still very young they will do that, but when they're about to reach maturity or when they reach an adult stage is then that the problems start. They only welcome the opposite sex. Males can be able to extend their territories to the females, is not an issue, but females cannot extend their territories to the other females. And look at that. Maybe he's going to wake up at any time and carry on hunting. Proud cat mama. This is what happens when these kind of animals are conducting a hunt. They do rely on their acute sense of smell, but the eyesight is very important. If you look at the predators, the eyes of all predators are located high up here. Reason for the eyes to be located there is to have a binocular vision and to be able to judge a distance before the animal starts to chase their prey. So these kind of animals, when they are hunting, they can pick up the sound from far, from the ears, about the presence of the prey. And then they are going to change now. Their main focus is going to be on their eyes as they're approaching, because they must have to look at the potential target. So you can see that the movement So I've just got a comment that a lot of viewers confirmed that this is not Shidulu, it's Tandy. So these leopards are still confusing, especially now early in the morning with this kind of weather. They just all look the same. So it is very, very quiet here where I am at the moment, and I'm glad that the prey animals, they have not yet picked up his presence, her presence. Maybe this cat might carry on with the hunt. So if this is Tandy, I wonder where Kalamba might be at the moment. So when this leopard is like that, it's very difficult from a distance to tell what this animal is. It doesn't look like a shape of an animal. So it's trying to groom. It's time for grooming now, early in the morning. This is the annoyed look of Tandy. That's a nice one. So by looking at the bellies, you can see that this cat is hungry. So that's why he's doing some hunting at the moment. This is quite a lovely cat. Look at that. This is beautiful. So it's just now passing by, going behind the vehicle. It's an ornament having Tandy passing by on a very close range like this. Look at that, going up the drainage. And the direction Tandy is going, there is another head of impala. This cat is very skilled when it comes to hunting. I saw that. It's very rare for a cat to attempt hunting two different species and still live without them noticed about their presence, and now carrying on to the next head of impalas, possibly on that side. So now let's go to Jamie, who is now driving around to try and find something for you.
Well, I wasn't so much driving around to find something as chasing June. And she's gone racing over the boundary into Buffel's Hook. So that's the sort of boundary of our traverse where we can go. I can't follow her. She heard something. I know she heard something. She's in that drainage line. And I think if I go forward, we might lose signal. So, Megs, just shout if you need me to stop. Let's try and get a view of her. I'm hoping with this nice dry weather, no leaves on the trees, I'm hoping we might make it. And then I'll tell you, I have a confession. I might be wrong. Oof. No, I'm joking. I'll be wrong a lot about hyenas. I don't see any signs of lactation on her. Thinking it's June. Pretty certain. But I don't see enlarged nipples. I I don't know. I'm not 100% certain. She might be doing what young females do, which is playing with cubs. Can't hear them. Gap. Oh, gap. Oh, no, she's gone over the damn wall. I just saw her. Grrr. June. Breaking my heart. I saw the way she got up and ran, and I just wanted to go and check and see what she was after. All right, let me go back on myself, because then I know the signal's okay. Becky, it is incredibly dangerous for hyenas to give birth due to the structure of their genitals. So a spotted hyena in a very bizarre setup has a fused urinary and vaginal tract. Now, that, combined with the fact that due to their high levels of androgen they have a pseudo-penis, means that it's a very long, very small organ that they give birth through. Give up. She's gone. She's gone. I can't go this way. Now, that is one of the reasons why this siblicide story started, is because hyena cubs have a very short umbilical cord. Once they detach from that, and once the placenta detaches and the hyena cub is being born, if it isn't quite a quick process, that cub dies. It is oxygen deprived. So people were seeing one cub at a time, and thinking, nope, must be a situation where you've either had 2 males or 2 females. It's not true. Siblicide in hyenas is unbelievably rare, and it happens when there's some sort of restriction to resources. The study that I read, where there was a case of siblicide, if we can call it that, was a situation where the female only had 1 nipple. Her other one was badly damaged. And as a result, the more dominant cub dominated that nipple. It makes sense. It just constantly was there suckling, and the little cub, the less dominant cub, just didn't make it because it didn't have access to food. The same applies if mom doesn't have much milk, if she's hungry for some reason, then you get situations where there's siblicide. But active, constant siblicide, the way that it was described 20 years ago, does not happen. I still don't think they're from the same litter. Even if June is not the mother, I still am not 100% convinced. Development doesn't just slow that much. You don't get one cub that's still not got its spots and one cub that's got shoulder spots. I don't think. I stand corrected. We don't know everything there is to know about hyenas. I had to leave the den because there were no adults around. We'll go back a little bit later. There's something similar has happened to Brent. He's had to leave Hosanna, but purely to make space for the game drive vehicles.
Yes, we did. And Jamie's 100% correct. We don't know everything about hyenas. We don't know everything about anything, to be honest. And that's the wonderful thing about being out in the bush, is that we can learn something new every day. So we had a quick look, and yes, indeed, it is not Shidulu that Sydney's got. It is indeed Tundi. Tundi. Which is quite interesting. If she's in that part of the reserve, it's almost certain that Shidulu might have been there yesterday or last night, and she's now going to reaffirm her scent marks, and just to make sure that Shidulu doesn't creep too far into her territory. Now, the question is, where has she left little Shalamba? And there's a very good possibility she could be anywhere off to the east of us, but unless we find any tracks, we're not going to be able to be sure. So we're going to do a big loop down towards the east and see if we can find some elephants. Chitty Chatty Meg wants to know, why can't you look leopards in the eye? Well, it's not so much as looking them in the eye, it's just looking at them in general when you're on foot, and very close. So a leopard's main form of defense against the dominant diurnal predator. Oh. Branch breaking. Yeah, it sounds like Ellie's up ahead. Okay, we'll carry on chatting. So ears are very important on bushwalk. They'll keep you safer than your eyes. So we already know that there's elephants up ahead before we even got close. Okay, so it's not so much as looking at them eyes, it's just looking at them in general. As I said, the main form of defense is camouflage. So if I'm walking and there's a leopard hiding from me right here, and I see it, if I stare and I'll go, oh, it's going to feel threatened. It might do the spotted chainsaw act on me. So what you do is, because if you pretend like you haven't seen them, they feel safe, they believe their camouflage is working. So you sort of glance out, oh, I see a leopard, and then you stroll as you've been strolling away till you get to a safe distance. And depending on the leopard, that distance varies. Normally, in sort of traditional circumstance, what we do there is we would go out tracking, find it, stop. Once we found it, basically not even look at it, and just walk back to where we had left our vehicle and then drive in to where that leopard was. So it's more about making the leopard feel comfortable than staring it in the eyes. Okay, well, we're going to go try find this herd of elephants. It sounds like it's up ahead. In the meantime, let's go see what Tundi's up to with Sydney.
I am right now following the lovely cat, and the lovely cat is now going in between this dry riverbed and still looking at something. I can see that this cat, the hunting is not over. So it seems like it's going to come out somewhere here on this side. I'm going to have to go around and see if we can have a good sighting from this side. Maybe she has just spotted something from this dry riverbed. So we're gonna have to go now alongside the dry riverbed, because this cat is. That's the better side. Is the other side here where I am is difficult because it's hunting and there's quite a lot of branches, dry branches. We don't want to spoil the hunt. So now let's go to Jamie, who's got the elephant.
I've got some elephants. I don't know if it's the elephants with a capital T, but I've definitely got some elephants. So we'll take a break from hyenas for now, especially because I think June's on her way to a kill, which means we're not going to be able to, we're not going to see the adults at the den anytime soon. So we'll go back a little bit later, but for now, there's plenty to keep us distracted. Hello, guys. I'm just loving how many elephants there are at the moment. I totally stole that line from Darby, who said it to me a second ago before we went live. Come, little one. Oh, you've got something in your eye. You can come out in the open. It's okay. You and your wrinkly forehead. I promise not to make fun of your wrinkly forehead. Little one. Couple of months. 8 months. Maybe a little bit older. Come on. You know you want to. You know you want to. Or are we shy? I think we're a bit too shy for now. Mom will have to come out first. Once it does come out, we can chat a little bit about the using its trunk and learning to do so. Proud cat mama, you say beautiful Ellies, beautiful indeed. Let's watch the scene play out, because that elephant that's suckling right now, to me, looks far too old to be doing so. I'm surprised that mom is allowing it. Elephants do have an extended lactation period, so they suckle their youngsters for a long time, sometimes even up to 5 years old or so. Now that elephant to me is about 3 years old, and it's the sort of normal weaning period for a young elephant. And what often happens is it starts to get uncomfortable for mum, for that baby to twist itself round underneath her, and she is often pregnant at this point, or about to become pregnant, and so she gets to the stage where she tries to wean the calf, and there are massive tantrums that happen. Oh, I'm taking a break from Mom's milk to eat some plants. Yes, you really are a little bit big. Just a little bit. And here's something that animals have a tendency to do to us. Normally when we see magic quarry thickets like this, we talk about how they're green and undamaged because most animals don't eat them. At this point, the elephants are absolutely loving them. So they love to take what we say and do the exact opposite. There's not much good quality food around. Magic quarry is not nice to eat. Very high in tannins. It's not particularly nutritious. So for the most part, animals avoid it. I think that combined with the fact that it always has green leaves is one of the reasons why leopards and lions love to mark their territory on these trees. Oh, so nice. I love Ellies when it's nice and cool. They're always busy doing something. Hi, big girl. You are so lovely. You are so lovely. Delicate, gentle trunk. Oh, she's got a backwards tusk, this girl. Not fang, but she does have a backwards facing tusk. H-Worker, that you raise a very good point. H-Worker says, why are we suddenly seeing so many elephants? Where have they come from? The bush looks so phenomenally dry. It is dry, but it is dry throughout the greater Kruger area. But you do raise a good point in that elephants seem to come and go en masse. So either we don't have elephants or we just have elephants absolutely everywhere. Let's watch these two in front here. Looks like two young males. No, it's a male and a female. That's interesting. Sorry, I'll come back to that question in a second. What you doing, guys? Interesting. Are you just greeting each other? Might be siblings or cousins. Perhaps they grew up together. But there's a lovely little bond here. Male at the back, female at the front. You won't, at this age, you don't really see the females tussling or play fighting. Something that they grow out of far quicker than the males do. Actually, the males never grow out of it. They continue to do it throughout their lives. Off. Off. Come on, then. Look at the greetings. This is so cool. Really, really lovely. A group of elephants around, I would say around a similar age. So all very fond of each other. They probably grew up together in the herd. Now they're all saying good morning. What they'll often do is wrap their trunks around the top of the other elephant's head and put the tip of their trunk on that gland on the temple in order to get an idea of what's happening in the elephant's life. Oh, I don't know where to look. I don't know where to look. There's a baby here too. Hi. Yes, you're very big and scary. Right, so the question about where the elephants come from, it's something that I marvel at, because it really does feel as though the elephants seem to have, and we know that they communicate with each other, herds in space, herds that are spaced out, they're still communicating through low rumbles, but they seem to move en masse. They really do. And I noticed it particularly in the Mara, because in the Mara you can see further. And there was one day where we had about 200 elephants in the marsh in front of our camp. And for kilometers around, from every direction, you could just see herds beelining in that direction. And by the end of it, there must have been about 500 elephants around. And then the next day they were gone. No idea why. How they communicate to each other. How they seem, you would think in this dry weather it would be the opposite, that their herds would spread out because there's so little food that they actually have to, they have to try and make the most of it without competition from other herds, but it doesn't seem to work that way. Of course, remember that water is also a limiting factor. So they will gather together where there's lots of water, or at least some drinking water. Oh, look at that. Entwined, I think, would be a good word there. That, I think, is 2 boys. Yeah, that's 2 males. So why... Sweet. That's so lovely. Oh, we've just run out of energy. I'm just going to leave this here. Don't mind me. I'm just going to lean on you. It's so sweet. It's playful but very gentle at this point. It could escalate into something a bit more enthusiastic. They could fight each other once they realize that that their strength is relatively equally matched. Push and shove a little bit. There we go. It's turning from a gentle greeting into a potential sparring session. That was not very nice. Shame. You couldn't see what happened there, but basically this younger elephant shoved its way into the guarri bush. So it was really right in the middle of the thicket, and then the adult female, the one with the backwards tusk, just shoved it over onto its side. And because it was trapped in this thicket, it really couldn't do anything. That was mean. It was not very nice. I have no idea why, but it wasn't very nice at all. Shame, it was just a young female. Oh, Ellie's keeping us on our toes. In much the same way that Thandi has been doing to Sydney all morning.
Thandi is still now on hunting again. I can see she is trying to spot something in front, and I'm just guided by her interest. I'm not too sure what she is looking at the moment, but I can see that this cat is up to something. Or I can see the impalas there. There's some impalas right in front at the moment. Those are the impalas who are now giving him some interest. I can see they're not very close at the moment, but it's quite a small head of the impalas right in front of us. So the attention of Thandi is all on impalas at the moment. Look at that. You can see she's going down. She's going down. That is a sign that she doesn't want to be detected at all. So she is moving, hiding behind the bushes. But she's taking the wrong direction now. I'm not too sure if she's planning to set up a nice approach direction. Maybe she picked up something to do with the wind, or maybe there's another potential target that she just picked up now. But she's trying to avoid the impalas by all means at the moment. So I'm just going to keep following and see. Ivy, Thandi maybe is trying to make Sydney very busy and Senzo. Let's quickly go to Brent.
So guys, it seems like my honey badger luck is continuing. I've just seen a honey badger go behind the termite mound. Hopefully it's as relaxed as the one we saw a few days ago. He's moving to the north through here. It hasn't seen us yet. So it was just continuing on its way. You can see the honey badger's been busy digging up scorpions. It's right here. I've had quite a few decent sightings of them on foot. So stop and listen, see if we can hear it digging. says, here we go again. I hope so, Linda. Okay, let's just go this way. The last place I saw the badger was near this termite mound heading this way. Just go quietly. Let's go this way for your aerial, Craig. AGS is wondering, would a honey badger be aggressive towards us? Not necessarily, Aegis. It's possible, but unless we threaten it and corner it, it shouldn't be. I think this one might have given us the slip. I don't think it was running from us. I just think it was moving. And it went into this broken stuff here, which can make them quite difficult to spot. Thought I saw it for a second. He was cruising down this path. Straight into here. Oh dear. I've lost sight of it. I'll just keep quiet for a bit and see if we can hear it digging. Okay, well, we try to find the honey badger again. Let's go across to Jamie and some elephants.
Brenty's on a honey badger roll last 2 days. Well, 3 days. I can't remember when he saw that honey badger, but he was very excited about it. Now, he's done well this morning. Hopefully he manages to get it back on camera. Meanwhile, we're happily sitting here with some big animals that are quite hard to lose once you've found them. Our boy is still sparring away, trying to get their, sort of the bottom of their trunk over the top of each other, to try and push their opponent's head down. So all's relaxed. I mean, even after the drama of an elephant being shoved over, everything else has calmed down. The elephants are chilled out, apart from these two who are really just gauging their strength at this point. They're probably only about 15 years old, maybe a little bit older. I would put them at about 15. So at the moment, they're reaching that point where they'll leave the herd. And it's time to move off on their own. So their relationship with each other and with other males becomes more important than their connection to the rest of the herd. Oh, we're all moving now. A decision has been made, somehow, that it's time to move to the next bush. Stormy, you want to know why that elephant, that female, had a backwards tusk? The answer to that is, like, a tusk is a tooth. So like with humans, there can be certain damage when it comes to the root of the tooth or the way in which it grows. Now, damage like that with people, or the way that a tooth grows out of your jawbone, sometimes they grow slightly skew. But it's very different with an elephant that actually grows a long tooth and that continues to grow. So she's probably had some sort of damage, or perhaps she was born that way. But it's not that uncommon for elephants to... Let's see if we can get a little bit further forward. It's not uncommon for elephants to have tusks that curve that way, curve under the other tusk. It happens quite a lot. I suspect due to injuries when that tusk is developing, but not necessarily always. Oh, don't be a silly girl. Oh, come on. You're full of nonsense. I'm not pushing you off the road. I'm not, I promise. You just wanted to move anyway, and you want to pretend it's... Here we go. You're fine, girl. You're fine. I'll stop here. There you go. You did want to go that way. I knew you did. There we go. Nicely positioned so we can see these two continuing their brawl. Sizing each other up. The one in front is pretending to eat. Did not have a single thing in its trunk there. This displacement behavior, they do that with us as well, with people. Craig, you want to know how much an elephant's trunk would weigh, and the answer to that is they're surprisingly heavy, or perhaps not so surprisingly. We all know that muscle weighs quite a lot. You know, if you want to bulk up, you can guarantee that you will put on weight if you build muscle. It's quite a heavy bodily, what would you call it? It's not quite an organ. It's a bodily thing that you have. Well, gosh, words. I can't speak. So that trunk is made up of between 50 to 100,000 muscles or muscle bands. It depends on how they're classified, whether or not they're classified as an independent muscle or a connected muscle to each other. So around between 50 and 100,000. They go down the trunk, they go across the trunk, they go diagonally, they wrap around. I mean, that entire trunk is basically just one muscle. So if you were to weigh it, I would put it somewhere around about, I don't know exactly, but I would put it around about, for a fully grown big elephant, around about 40 kilos or so. A big elephant's trunk, so about 90 pounds. They're very, very solid. And that's a big elephant. For these young males, it'll be less than that. Maybe 30 kilograms? I still think it would be a bit more. They're giving us such a wonderful demonstration here of the flexibility of their trunks. Just watch the way that they move. Watch the muscle motions that are involved. There's nothing quite like a trunk. We can move our arms backwards and forwards, but we can't do this because we've got bones in our arms. There are no bones in an elephant's trunk. It is just pure muscle. It's sinuous. Watch the way they move them and how much control they have over their trunks. They're sort of a little bit like tentacles in a bizarre way. I know that sounds odd, but that's the only real comparison that we could make. There's nothing else like it. They're also capable of being so gentle and delicate that trunk with its little fingers on the end, the finger-like protrusions, those can pick up a matchstick off the floor. They can also pull down a massive branch. Watch how they curl it up. Look at that control. And then, while you watch this, it gives you a really good idea as to why baby elephants actually have to learn to use their trunks. That coordination is not just instinctive. It doesn't just happen straight away. That has to be learned. In the same way that a small child has to learn to write and hold a pen and catch a ball. I don't think we appreciate elephants' trunks enough. There is nothing that an elephant trunk can't do. It stretches like an accordion. It contracts to be shorter. Oh, ouch. That looked uncomfortable. I think that elephant's response told us all it needed to know. Imagine a tusk going into the gum. Brrr, not pleasant. A little bit earlier I heard the Tundi sighting being described as horrible, not due to the fact that it was Tundi, but due to the area that it's in. Let's go see if the heroic efforts of Sydney have managed to keep up with a Tundi.
Tandy is now right in the dry river beds. She is walking down towards the Galagopen area, and it's very, very difficult to see Tandy from where I am at the moment. So I'm trying to check here where exactly Tandy is hiding at the moment. So this dry river bed is very big. So she just got into this dry riverbed. So I'm just trying to look everywhere Maybe we might be lucky and reallocate her somewhere in here. So this cat must be somewhere here. There she is. There she is. She is giving me a look at that. She is now looking at something. I can't see very well what exactly this cat is looking at, but I can see that she is fascinated by something. She's right in the middle of the drainage. You can see there. But she was looking on the other side of the drainage. Something is fascinating Tanti here. So let's see what she's thinking. But she is still now progressing deep in the drainage. So it seems like she is using the drainage to avoid detection. So I'm just going to move further again and try to improve the sighting. But now let's go to the bushwalk and see how Brand is doing.
Well, I'm in amongst one of my favorite trees on the whole of Djuma. And I'm not talking about species. This particular individual tree is one of my favorites. It's the biggest Timbwiti tree on Djuma. It is absolutely gorgeous. And when Hosanna and Shongile were little, they often used to use this tree as a playground. And Krula would often leave them in the big river system just behind me. And I don't know, I've just loved this tree forever. Since I first found it tracking leopards. It's absolutely stunning. And you can see some of it is dying, this one in particular, this big branch here. It's still alive, but it's got some rot setting in. But there's still 1, 2, 3, 4 big trunks that are going to survive. Kurt says, whoa, that is a big tree, and particularly for a Timbwiti tree, it is absolutely massive. Most of the Timbwitis we get here are quite small. Unfortunately, those elephants we heard were walking too fast for us, and they went to the south. So the one thing I can tell you about that honey badger we just saw, it's definitely not the same honey badger that I was following earlier in the week. And that honey badger had a very distinct scar on its back. And a branch just fell down, making me think there might be an elephant sneaking up on me, but not. It was just a dead branch fell down behind us somewhere. And it was a very fat bird that landed on it. So we are almost at the southern boundary, but we're not going to head there. We're going to cut now straight towards the east and see if maybe Tingana has popped back onto Cheetah Cut Line, and hope maybe for some lions as well. I heard lions roaring in Torchwood at about quarter to 4 this morning, but they were far away, but maybe they've moved. Justin is asking what I enjoy most about bushwalk. Well, Justin, it's always nice to look at the trees and some of the smaller things, but if I'm going to be completely honest, Justin, the thing I enjoy most about bushwalk is tracking big cats and being close to big cats on foot. That is the thing I enjoy most about bushwalk. Everyone's got their favourite thing. Also, walking ellies. Those are the two things I enjoy the most. And when butterfly season comes, I do enjoy a good butterfly. And wildflowers. There's lots of stuff to look forward to. But for me, it's tracking big cats is my favourite thing. And a close second is spending time with elephants on foot. But let's go across to Jamie with elephants from the vehicle.
The nice thing about watching Ellies from the vehicle, of course, is that you can get a great deal closer than you can on foot, or depending on the situation. Sometimes everything aligns perfectly and you can get really, really close to them. But to look at them in this way, where Dave can take you right into that beautiful brown eye, fanned by the longest eyelashes you ever did see, worthy of a mascara advert. And, well, there's a lot of ways to enjoy the company of elephants, especially a beautiful big female like this one. Old girl. You can see she's starting to sink in around the forehead. I would put her at least 45. I think she's the biggest female in this herd, and therefore most likely the matriarch, not necessarily, but she will be one of the, it's not a rank so much as she will be one of the herd protectors and leaders. You can't talk about her as being a high-ranked elephant. That's not how they work. It's, oh, she's pregnant, by the looks of things. Her belly, unless she's just got a little bit saggy round the middle, no. No, she hasn't. There's definitely not late stages of pregnancy, but she's definitely pregnant. Michael, you want to know if, if elephants experience anything like human breast cancer? I actually don't think so. I think that there was a study done recently about elephants and cancer, and I think it was found that they actually don't seem to get cancerous growths, or very seldom get cancerous growths. Oh, sorry guys, I'm just going to stop here because the babies want to come across. So no, I don't think that they do. The closest they'd come would maybe be growths on their skin. You do sometimes see growths on the sort of subdermal growths, which are benign in nature. But to the best of my knowledge, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, to the best of my knowledge, they don't get breast cancer. I think they're quite resistant to most forms of cancer, or resistant is the wrong word, highly unlikely to be in a situation where something has happened and they found themselves with a cancerous growth. It's very, very unusual. Humans. Female elephants, of course, do have enlarged mammary glands. They're pectoral mammary glands. So they're between the front legs, and it's one fantastic way of telling the difference between a sexually mature female and a young male. Sometimes young males do look a little bit like females. There you go. There we go. That's exactly what I was talking about. So quite easy to see on an adult, a fully developed adult female. Now that's the female with the... Oh no, she doesn't have the backwards tusk. I thought it was the mother of that calf. She has a slightly... No, she does have a backwards tusk. It's just a different one to the one we saw, isn't it? Am I going... No, it's definitely different. I'm not going mad. Oh, maybe it is her. I think it is. It's just a different angle. It actually goes right underneath her trunk. It is her. She's going to lead the baby across the road in front of us. Carol, you actually need to spend quite a vast amount of time with an elephant herd to determine that. So Carol wants to know how you determine which female is the matriarch. Oh, look at this little girl. Too sweet. Because what you'll often find in the structure of an elephant herd is that there are a couple of larger, older females in the group, and sometimes the matriarch leads them and sometimes she doesn't. So you can't look at an elephant herd walking, for example, and go, okay, that one in the front is the matriarch, because it might be one of her sisters or her cousins that's around about the same age leading the group, because she's got the same amount of wisdom within her, within her experiences. So she could be leading and the matriarch could be walking behind to protect the group. You've got to spend quite a bit of time with them. And you've got to watch for the elephant that seems to lead the decisions, if that makes sense. But it's a really tricky, personally, I find it a very difficult distinction to draw, and I would not any confidence be able to pick out the matriarch here. I'd pick out the three likely candidates within this herd, but I would not be able to say instantly that's the matriarch because she's the biggest one. It's not necessarily the case. Also, you might get three very similar sized and similar age. Try for one last view, then we're going to go check Philemon's cutline den. Brr. Still a little bit nippy. Summer's not fully here, although I got horribly sunburnt yesterday. Oof. Entirely my own fault. Hey, big girl. So now, what also happens with aging females is even if the matriarch is still with the herd, once she reaches a certain age, she'll start to, or often will start to step back from the more strenuous leadership roles of the herd itself. She'll often hang behind them. As elephants get older, of course, as you know, they start to struggle to chew because their teeth have been worn down. Their final sixth set of molars has reached its end, and they're not quite what they used to be. They're not quite as strong or as fast or as alert, and they tend to step back, and their daughters step into that role. Hold on one moment. Sorry, Brentie's calling me. Standing by. Okay, copy, thanks. It's very close to where I am. Thank you. The Misi were running into the Manuleti corner around the gate. I think it might be that. Okay. Brent is just telling me that there's tracks of 2 young male lions crossing into Djuma, very close to where we are. Okay, so I've turned the wrong way completely for poor Dave's camera work, but that's because I was looking that way. I'm going to go and have a look quickly on our way to Philemon's cutline. Let's go across to Sydney, who's had a far more strenuous morning.
I am still following Tandy, and she's still busy trying to find something for this morning. Maybe she's going to be successful with us this morning. I can see that now she is heading towards this direction, and she has been walking for quite a long distance, and I can see now she's even climbing some of the termite mounds in order to see for a long distance. Look at that. It seems like she's spotting something right there at the moment. Senzo, can you see where that cat is? I can also smell some buffaloes here in the area, so the wind is coming towards my direction at the moment. Maybe we might be lucky with the buffaloes here in this area. I just want to first see where this cat is going because she's just changing directions all the time. So now I can see that she's going this side, so I've got to go this side. It has been a long walk. Aline at Talamba is just about a year old now. I think at this stage it is still very dangerous for Talamba to participate on hunting activities. But when she's 18 to 22 months, she will be able to then conduct hunting. But anytime from now on, from 12 to 18 months, she might start participating on the hunting activities. Oh, Tandy nearly. So now let's go to Jeremy, who's got a beautiful bird.
I do have a bird. You caught us slightly unawares there. That was my bad. I'm shifting the car around. Sorry. We do have a bird. We have a starling. And I think the starling might have chicks in this tree. And that would be really lovely if it does. I'm a bit worried that where we are, we might be stopping it from going back to the hole that we first saw it go into. Unless, of course, it's already fed its chicks there. That's it. There we go. Okay, we're not stopping it. And we've got babies. Greater blue-eared starling. Look at that. I wonder. You can see how drab they look when there's no sun. They are, of course, glossy starlings. So they shine spectacularly when there's sun. I think it's got babies in there. Whoop! Bit of a tricky spot. Or, if it doesn't have babies in there, it's preparing a nest, which is also possible. Aye. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Kathy, you say such a pretty blue colour. It is very pretty. I've definitely seen them look prettier, though, to be fair. When the sun is out, they are breathtaking birds. Back in again? Any little heads poking out? Yes, no? Oh, did I? No, I didn't see movement there. I thought for one moment I saw movement. It's that time of year, folks. We're going to be seeing lots of nest holes and nesting birds. We're coming into the rainy season, which means baby birdies everywhere. Now, talking about the colour of the bird, of course, it is a very pretty blue bird. But the fascinating thing, and many of you know this, okay, up into the... There she is, there at the bottom of your... Now, many people know this, but a starling is actually black in colour. And the light effect is created by the overlay of the chemicals in their feathers and the sort of crystalline structure of their feathers. And as a result, what happens is as the light enters sort of towards the feather, it bounces back and the blue reflects back. The rest is absorbed and blue sort of reflects back again. So it creates this beautiful iridescent sheen to the feathers. It's stunning. It really is. And it's fascinating to think that it is an entirely black bird. Okay, pretty bird, we're going to carry on. We're going to check for these line tracks, then go to Philemon's cut line. Oh, too much to do, so much to see. Off we go, back to Tundi.
So you can see that Tundi is now circled a little bit, but her positioning is telling you that there is something here. I haven't seen what she's aiming at, but it looks like she has got a potential target somewhere here. She doesn't want to move, and she attempted to move and decided to step back again. So she's not moving at all. I still can't see what she is looking at, but I can see that she is aiming somewhere behind these branches. Maureen, Tundi is a beautiful animal indeed. This cat is so cute. Look at those spots and the colors. Not bright white, just golden. So she also attempted to move. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. This cat is trying to provoke something here with the tail. This cat is trying to provoke something with the tail to come out, I think, for him to jump on. Look at that. So Tundi is doing what the snake mostly does. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. She is sweeping the floor and looking at the target. Oh, hey, she missed that. It was a scrub hare. You can see the scrub hare managed to dive onto this side. And that scrub hare is still in front. She's still looking at the scrub hare. She might pick up the scrub hare. So you can see that the scrub hare managed to... So that scrub hare managed to run. The hunt was disturbed by the branch. So this cat couldn't manage to jump onto the scrub hair. I could see that Tandy was using the tail to sweep the ground to make some noise so that the scrub hair can come out to the clear space for him to catch. And unfortunately, the scrub hair went towards the branch. And that is what blocked the hunt. So I'm just going to carry on following and see if she's going to pick up any other potential target. So these cats are so very clever. She was every time using the tail like a snake, attracting a prey so that the scrub hair can pick it up and jump and get confused, get caught. So that was lovely. So I can see now she is moving towards another drainage line. Let's hope she's not going to disappear in here. This looks like a very big drainage line. Yeah, poor Tandy will try again the hunt. So I can see now Tandy has got another potential target. I can see again. Now it's just about to jump again. Look, and he's deep in the drainage line. Look at that. You can see now she is slowly approaching something else. Look at that. She's slowly approaching something else. You can see that she's very still at the moment, right in the drainage line. So I didn't see what attracted her there, but I can see that she is about to get something. Look at that. You can see how she is slowly moving the back foot. She is not moving at all. She's very static, and there's a little bit of bushes in front of her. She jumped onto something. Oh, she lost another scrub hair again, and that was because of the branch, and she's chasing, and they all got disappeared. Look at that. So she gave up now. The scrub hair managed to also wake up a daker, and the daker ran away. That was lovely, eh? So this cat is trying by all means to get something this morning. Another scrub hair escaped, and these scrub hair are all saved by the big branches, dry branches. So we're just gonna reverse and keep following, but now let's go back to the bushwalk.
Maybe I was just having a chat there, sorry. We've made our way all the way to the eastern boundary. We're hoping to see if there's any sign of Tingana coming back in from Torchwood. And really hoping for elephants this morning, but they are proving to be difficult. Where Jamie is with the elephants is probably as far away from us as you can get. So we're hoping that maybe there's another herd down in the eastern sections. But so far, no luck at all. Philip is asking, has there been much upheaval in the adjacent leopard territories? Not really, Philip. So when Salahesh died in the west, Tiani has taken over her mom's territory, and I think one of the Ingrid Dam's females also is holding territory there. Tsakani, who we saw a few times on Live Drive, has actually moved all the way to Crocodile Bridge, so a very long way. But that western section was saturated with female leopards at that point. Shadow's gone. Sabui pretty much taken over Shadow's territory, and what else thinking about? Kachava's still around, and Ganyeni's doing well. She's got a sub-adult that's nearly a year old now. And to the north in Buffelshoek, I'm afraid we just don't know. Those females are so skittish and they're not seen very often. But no real upheaval. The upheaval, I suppose there seems to be always less upheaval with the females. There can be major upheaval, but at the moment everything's relatively sort of stable. It's when the males change that there's major upheaval. in both the female and male populations. Because if you've got a new male and any of the females have got youngsters that are under 2 years old, lots of problems for those poor leopards trying to avoid new males. But at the moment the Hukamuri's pretty happy to the west. Tingana's still ruling the roost here. Quarantine to the east. But Gijima hasn't been seen in a long time, but that doesn't mean anything. He can go months and months without being seen. He's an expert at avoiding being found. And generally, you only really see Gijima nicely after dark. Now we've walked. Let's have a quick look. Have a quick look from here. There we go. So we've done quite a big distance already this morning. You see that green there, Craig? That's around where the lodge is and the pan. But I got a report from my brother about lion tracks crossing into Djuma near where Jamie is. Let's go see if she's had any luck with those tracks.
I haven't had any luck. I'm very grateful to Leo Smith, not that Leo Smith that you've just seen, but the other one, the younger one. Dylan is the reason that we know about these tracks that crossed in apparently at One-Eyed Pan, which is just here. So I'm maneuvering my way along slowly. I'm curious to see who it would be. Young male lions. There seem to be so many young male lions knocking about, trying to join the Nkuhumas. It's the in place to be. I want to see if we can figure out who it is, but the light is so horrible this morning when it comes to tracking. It just, without the sun rays to cast a shadow, it becomes tricky. Let's just put it that way. It's easier when you're walking, but when you're cruising along, it's very easy to miss something. I have no doubt that Brent has covered an enormous distance this morning. He walks. I've described to you in the past how he walks and what it's like going shopping with him. Disaster. Don't ever go shopping with Brent. I'm not sure why you ever would, but if you ever did, don't. Just leave him to do it on his own. What you after, Magpie Shrike? Have a quick look-see while I listen for any signs of alarm calls or anything like that. Long-tailed shrike, or magpie shrike as they are now known. There's been a great push in the last decade or so to standardize the bird names, because throughout Africa ornithologists have not been able to agree on what something should be called. The result is that a couple of bird names have changed, which is very confusing for those of us that grew up with the old names. Things like gymnogenes or grey lories that are now go-away birds. Fascinating to watch, though, the way that it plays out, because there's all sorts of arguments. Ooh, Chitty Chatty Meg, good morning, or good evening, I suppose, for you. Chitty Chatty Meg wants to know what the most common bird is on Djuma. Somewhere, I was wrong, by the way, it was a Birchall starling we were looking at. I don't know where my brain was this morning, the one that was at the nest, sorry. I had a moment. Now, the most common bird, hornbill, probably is one of the most common. Starlings are some of the most common. The three species, Cape Glossy, Greater Blue-eared, and the Birchalls are very common. The most common raptor, I think, is when they're here, is probably warburgs, between battaliers and warburgs. It's so difficult because sometimes you can get 100 vultures that land on Djuma all of a sudden, but I still don't think they'd be the most common bird. Hornbills, starlings, what else? You see, there's the little grass birds, and the little tree birds, the cisticulars and the warblers, that I don't have an accurate number, honestly, to tell you, because we hardly ever see them. Where the hornbills are big and prominent, the little birds like cisticulars we don't stop and look at or search for all the time. I'm not sure is the short version of that answer. I'm sorry to have given you such a rambling one, but I'm not 100% sure what the most common would be. Franklins, There's so many francolins and spurfowls. There's another one where the Kenyans, or the East African birders, and the Southern African birders have reached a completely opposite conclusion as to which one should be called the spurfowl and which one should be called the francolin. The tracks haven't come out unless I'm going blind. Or missed them. So a one-eyed pan comes through here into this drainage line. I don't know. Going to do one more quick search and then off we go. Okay, Sydney continues to follow Tundi. Bravo to him for keeping up with her. I know that feeling. He's going to be exhausted when he gets home. Hopefully he's still with her.
I can see that now Tundi is out of the drainage line and she is also targeting something again. I have just went past the impalas here where targeting one of those. If not, maybe there is another potential target. So I can see that she is focusing on something. At the moment I can hear quite a lot of alarm calls. The squirrels picked up her presence at the moment, which might even have a negative impact on the hunt. So I can hear squirrel and some of the birds. They are now mobilizing and attacking the presence of Tundi at the moment. So now let's quickly go to Brent on the bushwalk. Oh yeah,
Hello, welcome back. We're still on boundary patrol at the moment. Now, we're getting into the area where I saw that honey badger earlier this week, so who knows, maybe we'll get lucky with another honey badger. Another relaxed one. The other one disappeared a bit too quickly. We're also just checking, as I said, for any sign of Tingana, who crossed into Torchwood last night. He might loop back. Quarantine was not too far. The last tracks I had of the quarantine male leopard were not too far. I might head into that area this afternoon, see if I can find him. But so far, quite quiet. Very few big animals today. Zerak would like to know, what is the most dangerous bird we have here? Well, to human beings, none. I suppose that's not entirely true. There are fossil records and one could say old wives' tales, some of them, about two species of eagle that will take human children, toddlers. They are strong enough, the crowned eagle and the martial eagle, but I mean that is very, very rare. So the most frequent sign of that is actually in fossil records with hominins, the Australopithecus, from about, what do you see, Herb? Oh, some kudu watching us down the road there. But so probably crowned eagle and martial eagle have been in fossil records. They've taken hominin children, but a couple of million years ago, well, their ancestors. But we're going to send you away from the kudu back to Tundi.
So I can see that now Tundi is making her way up to this side. Look at her. Still on the hunting mood, but she is just walking around and keep demarcating by the big trees. And this is beautiful. can see she's demarcating there. So she is marking her territory. So by these cats, both male and females, leopards, they do mark and defend their territories. She's looking very hungry. Thandi is looking very hungry at the moment. So I am hoping she will get something this morning. Look at that. You can see the bellies are so very much thin. Not too much is in the stomach. Look at that. So she's just about to cross now to the Buffalo's Hook area. So Maureen, the fight amongst the big cats can be vicious. Some of them, they can result with very big injuries, which can be fatal. They do kill each other when fighting for the territories, these animals. So I can see now that Thandi has just crossed to the Buffalo's Hook, and this might be bringing us to the end of Thandi sighting at the moment. So I am going to alternatively look for something else. And in the area earlier on, I did pick up very strong scent of the buffaloes. So I will just try to follow the sense of smell and see if I can find them. Niconico viewer, the buffaloes, they smell more like their own droppings. So the own droppings of the buffaloes. Oh, the artifact hole. I didn't see it. Yo. The buffalo smells like the droppings, and those droppings, the smell is so distinctive and is very much difficult to tell what kind of scent. It's just a unique smell. It's a unique smell. So this cat is now moving towards the Buffalo's Hook area. I just want to quickly inform all the other stations that the cat has gone towards the private concession.
2.
So now let's quickly go to Jamie, who is trying to find some lions.
I am trying to find some lions. Well done though to Sydney for keeping up with Thandi all that time. It was a very impressive feat. Unlucky that she crossed, but it's one of those things. So did my hyenas. I am looking for the lions. I'm also slowly looping round towards Philemon's cutline den. It was actually Tristan who suggested checking it after seeing so many. I wonder, someone's driven here this morning. I'm just looking at the buffalo dung. I'm wondering if I should tell Sydney, but I don't think it's as fresh as it looks. It was Tristan's suggestion based on the fact that we were often seeing Ribbon and Tima hanging out around quarantine clearings. So we will check there for any fresh signs. I've been thinking about June, and I've been thinking about Teddy. Now, Teddy was a hyena in the Masai Mara, and Teddy, I was convinced, had cubs for the longest time because she kept coming round to the den site and playing with the little ones. She was Waffles' very close ally. And it was interesting because Teddy's mother, Sour, didn't like Waffles very much at all. She really didn't. She'd submit to her, but she didn't spend any time with Waffles if she could avoid it. And when Waffles did arrive at the den, often Sour would get up and just walk away and move off, where Teddy actually sought out Waffles' company. And as a young female of a very similar age to June, their behavior was quite similar. A lot of time spent playing with the cubs. So I wonder if that's not just the explanation for this morning's behavior. We'll have to just keep trying, spend more and more time at the den until we start to unravel it. Teddy, of course, for those of you that missed it, died recently. We don't know exactly what happened to her. But what I found fascinating, because I'm in constant communication with the researchers that side, what I found fascinating was the fact that Waffle seems to be slipping slightly with her with her dominance, and it seems like Soup is starting to dominate her. Soup is her granddaughter, but she seems to be dominating Waffles, and so are her cubs. So are Soup's cubs, Lobster and Chow. So interesting. I wonder, perhaps, I doubt it, but let's go for the full dramatic effect here. Perhaps Soup realized with the slide with Waffles' new cubs that her own position in the hierarchy had slid down several levels. She thought she'd take advantage of Granny, while Granny was busy trying to be a mum. I don't know. Now, with regards to male hyenas and taking care of cubs, they don't look after them. They don't look after their physical needs. They don't feed them or provide for them in any way. But you do see males coming to play with the little ones. They can be very, very gentle, very tolerant, and give the cubs a chance to practice their social skills around them. And they play with them, and they roll them over, and then they let them chew their ears. And I've felt what a hyena cub's strength is like. I was fortunate enough to be able to do some saliva sticking of hyena cubs through the window of a vehicle, and a sloth bear at 6 months old nearly pulled me out of the car. So they're very, very strong, but the males just are so tolerant of it, so tolerant of their attention. Oh, what was I just saying now, Darby, about looking? So busy looking at tracks, I'm distracted. It's nice. We're starting to see zebra back on Juma once again, which is very pleasant. Marvelous. A little bit nervous of vehicles. I think that wherever these zebra have been while they've been away from Juma, I think that they've been... Oh, I've just had a thought. I think that they haven't been around vehicles often, because they are quite nervous around us, I've noticed. I've just had a thought about lions and zebra, and young male lions and zebra. And there's something in the way that these zebra are looking around them that might suggest that perhaps they've seen something I haven't, or are aware of something that I am not. Excuse me, have you seen a lion? I really need to sneeze. It's gone again. You know when a sneeze gets stuck and it makes your eyes water? It was that. Right, I'm just going to sit this out a little bit longer and check and see where these lions might be. Sydney, bravo, your sense of smell is impeccable, and it has led him straight to the buffalo.
So the buffaloes are just by the Buffalo's Hook. I can see them from the Buffalo's Hook cut line. It's quite a very big head, and they are not very close. They are very much far. Maybe these buffaloes are going to attract the big predators such as the lions to come much more this side. So all these buffaloes are stationary feeding. The weather is on their favor. Normally by this time is when it's too hot, the buffaloes prefer to hunt. They prefer to sleep, not to hunt. So it looks like this is the big head I saw yesterday afternoon by the Juma pan. So I'm just going to carry on and see if we can find something. Those buffaloes are very, very far. We're going to try the Buffalo's Hook Dam area and central Chitwa if possible, and see if we can find something interesting for you this morning. Giraffe girl, that is what has been happening here in Juma. Every time there are buffaloes, the unkuhumas around. So the unkuhumas must be somewhere around Buffalo Souk. So somewhere around Buffalo Souk, things must be happening there. Morning, morning. Morning. Yes. Yes, the Tandy has just gone to the Buffalo Souk, not very far away from here, just before Mvubu. So now we are heading much more towards the Tamboti, the Buffalo Souk Dam, to see if we can find something interesting there.
Thank you so much.
So now let's go to Brent on a guided walk.
Well, we've got a very industrious little bushveld gerbil here. You can see it's collected marula nuts that it's been eating over the dry season. You can see there nicely where it's dug chewed through to get out that lovely centre. Well, if you are a bushveld gerbil, it's a massive, delicious, high-protein meal. But you can see he's been doing some housekeeping, cleaning out, throwing out the old food, all this old bedding as well, all the grass that he uses to line the inside of his burrow. Yeah, busy, busy, busy. Spring cleaning, the most important thing about the summer months. As you can see, around here there is almost zero cover. So it makes it very easy for owls, genets, wild cats, and to catch them. So it's done well to get through, but we'll be hoping for some grass and some cover so they can feed more freely, and also they become slightly more diurnal outside of the winter months, almost exclusively nocturnal at the moment, just because during the day there's just as many dangerous predators for the poor little gerbil. But when there's a nice thick lush green grass cover, they will start feeding in the day, whereas at the moment almost exclusively nocturnal. Okay, we've got no sign of Tingana. Herbie's given me he's checking tracks up ahead. Okay, but it sounds like Jamie's got something that would love to catch a bushveld gerbil.
The birds just went absolutely crazy, and this Wahlbergs came swooping in out of nowhere. Then it flew to a log, because I thought it had missed it, and then it suddenly dropped down into the grass here. Now I'm going to try and reposition it. Now where is that in real life? I've lost... Oh, there it is. Oh. Never mind. Whatever it was after. No, has it got something there? I think it's got something. Where's it going? Into that tree. Okay. Darby, are you good to stay here? Okay, let's just have a quick look. It's a pale morph Wahlberg's eagle that came swooping in. I'm really sorry, I need to just ask Lex something. Lex for Jamie. Did you say that Tingana is there as well? Okay, copy that, thank you. We've got to change plan, guys. But this bird's caught something. This bird is... there's too much to look at this morning. I've got so many things on the go. I'm meant to be tracking lions. Now I hear that Tingana's made his way in. Look, she got something. Oopsie. Copy that, thanks. I would like to join you. Oh, the Wahlberg, shame it picked the worst branch it could possibly have. It's broken underneath its weight, but it does have something there. I wonder if it's not a bushveld gerbil. Can you imagine? That would be such a perfect circle. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, we're in that marula. I see where it is. Let's turn around and see what it's got. I thought it had something. There was something in the way. It was flapping in the grass. Right. don't fly away. Please. These lions haven't popped out here, by the way, so they're somewhere just close to where they crossed. What to do? There's so much going on. Tingana's gone and joined Hosanna, taken his kill once again. I don't know where to look. I want to see what it's eating though. I will go to the leopard shortly. Okay, cool. It's right next to the road. Beautifully so. How close is it going to let us get? I've lost it again. It's there. Okay. Gotta not let my impatience get the better of me. I'm gonna do this slowly. Fluff being pulled off. What do you think, Dov? Backwards? Or are you okay here? Oh! My mistake. Car's not in gear. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Slowly. I'm so scared it's gonna fly away. Oh dear. Oh dear. I can hear the squirrel's alarm calling. Darby, I'm losing momentum. Oh, I've stopped, Darby. Okay, I have to start. This has been an award-winning example of wildlife photography. There goes the bird. I think it finished whatever it had. It was very small. I don't know if it was a chick of some description. Oops. Well, Darby, well done. You did very well. I can't say the same for myself, but you did very well. He's still carrying a little scrap of whatever it was. I just saw bits of fluff. Question from one of our Nico viewers. Would like to know if there are any birds that are herbivores. There are actually. There's quite a few birds out here that only eat plants of some description. We've got our little seed eater families, things like waxbills, for example. They might on the odd occasion pick up the odd small insect, but their diet is basically seed based. Then you get the fruit eaters, things like the turacos or the parrots. They're based mainly, their diet is mainly based on fruit. So there's actually quite a few bird species that are herbivores, if you want to describe them in that manner. And then of course you get the bush shrikes, which then eat insects and small rodents, and then our bigger birds of prey as well. Geese, another example of an animal that is largely herbivorous. Little robins. So actually I would say most of the bird species, if you look at sheer numbers, most of the bird species diets are basically plant-based. Okay, there's lions there, there's hyenas there. We're going to Hosanna and his dad because this poor boy just can't catch a break, and Tingana's kicked him off the kill again. And as far as I know, Dav, correct me if I'm wrong, you were with Tingana last night. He went on to Torchwood. So he came all the way back to steal his son's food. Poor Hosanna. For those of you who are wondering what a Nico viewer is, they are people who are watching in Japan, which is amazing, and actually one of our largest audience bases. So we do show this through a, I don't know what you'd call it. It's basically like YouTube or a Ustream, a platform. Thank you. Nico is a platform on which we broadcast our show, and the viewers there don't have to have a user handle or a username. I confess I did not realize this the first few times I answered a question. So that is when we mention Nico viewers, that's our one of our largest audience bases in Japan. Okay, we're going to floor it a little bit, go and pay a visit to the father and the son, minus the angry sister. Sydney, of course, has been following the angry sister. He's lost her for now, and he's off towards Buffelshoek Dam.
So we are just approaching the Buffelshoek Dam now to see if there is no interesting animals here. So I am now starting to have a visual of the dam. There's just a little bit of water left here by the Buffelshoek, and Senzo has just spotted a hyena here. I can't see what that hyena is. Oh, there's a carcass and a hyena right by the Buffelshoek Dam, right by the dam. Can you see that carcass, Senzo? So we're just going to pull further so that we can see this carcass here and from which animal. But things has been happening. You can see the hyena there, and an animal was caught. It's not looking old. So it's difficult for me to tell from what animal from here where I am. So you can see that the hyena is going to the carcass now. But this looks much big. It was a big prey. Maybe it was caught by something big, not something of the size of these hyenas. So you can see that everything still looks very fresh there. So I'm still very much interested to see from what animal. Maybe it was a waterbuck, because I can see there's quite a lot of fluffy hairs there, and quite a lot of people, they've got to believe that the waterbuck animals don't eat the meat. You know, the waterbucks, the meat of the waterbuck is fine. Animals can eat it. The problem is the hairs of the waterbuck is equipped with what is called a subcutaneous gland. The subcutaneous gland is like it is something that these waterbucks are using in order to dry the hairs. They've got hollow hairs, and this hollow hairs absorbs quite a lot of water. In order to dry them, they've got to secrete that gland. So animals, when they eat that is when the meat can be bitter a little bit, but the meat is fine. So the hyena's stomach is full. So the hyenas, they've got very big teeth, the carnassials, which are able to pulverize the bones of the big antelopes. So that's why you can see their droppings. They've got quite like a chalky droppings. There's quite a lot of pieces that is picking up this hyena there. Maybe there's been quite a lot of competition. It would be great if we see the animals who caught this prey. So I'm just going to drive around here and see if we can't see anything here apart from the hyenas. Maybe there are other big predators here. I'm surprised because this hyena was supposed to drag these carcass to the den. No, this carcass I don't think is bad, because if you can check, the amount of meat eaten already is a lot. So it's showing that it's fine, because if it was bad, it was going to be quite a lot of meat still available. But the whole body is finished. There's only a little bit of meat left here, the legs and some part of the skin. So I'm just going to now drive around here just to see if we cannot find the animals who caught this prey. So sometimes hyenas can disperse the predators. Maybe these hyenas dispersed some of the predators. So if I can look around here, we might be lucky and see something. Purple rain, the vultures will be the one to finish that carcass there. But not much is left there. Not much is left, because I can see no ribs, nothing from the intestines. So let's just go closer and see, because I can see other vehicles has been here as well. But I can hear there's some francolins who are giving some warning calls in the area, and this is by the direction where the hyena is not coming from. Maybe another hyena is coming, or something is there. Something.
Sorry about that, everyone. As Sydney tries to find his way closer to those hyenas, it is a bit of a tricky signal area, so he'll be back up with you shortly. So we apologize for that. A brief disappearance. I'm sure we'll be back shortly. Hyenas on a carcass at Buffelshoek Dam. I would have never ever expected that. Oh, is this where we're going in now? It's just where people have been coming out. Okay, we've arrived. I've checked Philemon's Cutline Den, by the way. I've been doing lots. I'm busy morning. So I've checked Philemon's Cutline Den site. That is where Tristan suggested we check. He is right. There's lots and lots of tracks around. The den itself doesn't look occupied though, but we can keep checking, because I think I see them there. Thanks. I suspect that it's because... Have I gone in 1-2 track too soon? I fear I might have. No, we're good. We're good. I think they've just been hanging around there because there's been so much to eat in this area. I have royally messed up this. I've gone in the wrong place. Gone in the wrong way. Oh dear, oh dear. Jamie? There's a difference between a natal den and a communal den. Typically a natal den, the way that I understand it, is a natal den is for the mum only. The mum and her little cubs. She may well be joined by other lions. I've got too much on the brain. Other hyenas at a later stage when the cubs are a little bit older. But in the first week of life, her natal den is just for her and her 2 cubs. Once they are joined by others, it becomes a communal den. I don't know how I did this. I got over enthusiastic about where the sighting was. Question for all of you. Please feel free to share your theories in the comments section as always, where you can share your questions, or on #SafariLive. How did Tingana know? Why did he... Where did you find him, Dave? Buffelshoek, drinking at Buffelshoek Dam. He went east on his normal territorial patrol, which does not take him along this route. How did Tingana know that there was a carcass here? Did he smell it? No. He did not. He can't have. The wind was blowing in the wrong direction. How did he know? Did he already know that the sky... I don't know the answer to that. I'm open to theories and suggestions. Maybe he just stumbled upon it. But constantly? Does he keep finding he just gets lucky that he keeps finding his son with a meal? Because I don't think Hassan is alerting him. Hassan does not want to share. And share is the wrong word. He does not want his kill taken. How does Tingana keep finding him? Is he following him? Is he following his son's tracks and scent and stealing from him constantly? Don't know. I think he's following him personally. Don't know the answer though. We're nearly there, but we're going to send you across to Brent, who I'm sure has an opinion on the matter.
I think Tingana is just an expert thief. And while we're talking about Tingana, Jamie and I were actually talking about this very tree yesterday. And it used to be a giant milkberry, which of course is James Henry's favourite tree. And I've nearly, coming around this corner when it was big and thick and green and full of white flowers, both Jamie and I have surprised Tingana on this very corner. And I actually thought it might be dead. But now as I come and inspect closely, during the drought a couple of years ago, the elephants really hammered it. But there is hope. There is green. So hopefully this giant milkberry will make a spectacular recovery and become this massive, beautiful ball of green that it once was. If the Ellies don't hammer it again this year. Shame. Poor milkberry. You can see the elephants over the dry season have been feeding very heavily in these little riverine areas. Completely smashed quite a few of these trees. And as Jamie was this morning was saying, they were eating guarri, which you always know means it is the end of the dry season when they decide it's time to eat the guarris. There's another tree. Thought I saw something underneath there, but anyway, sounds like Jamie's managed to get into position with the thief of thieves, the Duke of Juma.
Thief of thieves, indeed. Duke of thieves, perhaps. Well, that's what you get for being a dominant male leopard. One day it will be Hasana's turn to steal from his sons. I suppose, we expect our children to look after us in our old age. Perhaps he does something similar. My theory, for what it's worth, is that I suspect that Tingana sniffs around, finds Hasana's tracks and follows them for a little bit. And because Hasana has been so successful with his hunting, I think that just works out in Tingana's favour. Now, it's not that he can't hunt, it's not that he is too old to hunt or infirm in any way. He's still dominant, he's still controlling the territory. I just think it's easier this way. Much easier to steal. I don't know where Hasana is. I assume he's down at the bottom of this milkberry tree. Yeah, lots of people sharing a similar sentiment to mine, that he knows Hasana must eat and therefore he comes along and steals his kills. He sniffs around for him. It's just so interesting that he went due east last night and then straight back. Lauren, you say that Hasana must have posted a picture of his kill on Instagram. Of course, I mean, it is very much the done thing these days, apparently, to take a picture of one's meals and post it on social media in case people are, well, I guess people must be truly fascinated with whatever people are eating. Of course, we can take it one step further and say that in Hasana's fast food chain that he's opened up, Hasana's Eatery, he publicity is a big thing. It's important to advertise for a budding entrepreneur like Hasana. I think, Lauren, you've nailed it. That's exactly what's happened. Being of the new generation, okay. So I quite like the idea of the Instagram picture because it sounds like something a young male would do. Actually, I'm going to get myself into trouble. But our Laramoor's got an even better theory, and that is that Tingana watches SafariLive, which of course is a very good theory because SafariLive is the best program ever that's ever been made. I'm not in any way biased. And so our Laramoor, yes, that's exactly what's happening. Tingana goes onto his mobile device of some description and he searches for SafariLive and he watches us. Maybe he slinks past the TVs at night and watches our program. Maybe he was watching SABC3 last night. Maybe he winces along with us when things go slightly wrong and we get attacked by gremlins. The kudu is now quite extended. The legs are dangling in every direction as they've eaten away at the muscle. There's not that much left anymore. What I am grateful for, even though television-wise it probably would have been better for us if Tingana had arrived here last night, what I am grateful for is the fact that Hosana had a long extended opportunity to feed. So he's come in between when Brent was here and when I arrived here. So he's only just recently arrived. And the good news is that Hosana would have actually managed to eat most of it. Haha, Tingana, you're too late for the best parts. Shem, you should have seen Hosana dragging it. We came to babysit Hosana yesterday morning after the end of the sunrise safari. Brent and myself came out to relieve Tristan while we waited for the trainees, and then they took turns babysitting him, because at that stage, remember, we didn't know if Hosana was going to manage to steal it back from the hyenas. He did, but when he dragged it here, it was quite a distance. It was probably a distance of about 150 odd yards, possibly even more. It was so big at that point that he kept falling over it and then flopping down exhausted over it for a little while before he gathered his strength and dragged it another few meters. But this drainage line, this river system, is very steep, and he had to get it, he took it down to the bottom of the drainage line before he hoisted it into the tree, and he fell. Shame. He fell down the bank and went head over heels down into the riverbed before picking up the carcass and carrying on. Shame, little boy. We'll wait for our chance to get a better view at some point. Good question, Bernice. Bernice is wondering if having his kill stolen as often as Hosana does will prompt him to actually move away from his dad's territory. I think it's a question of the devil you know versus the devil you don't, you know. At least he knows his father's not likely to kill him. Whereas if he moves into the territory of another big dominant male leopard, that is a potential danger. As we've seen with Hukumuri when he chased Hosana. Fortunately, Hosana is the quintessential survivor, and he knew to dash away quickly. I don't know. I think it could, actually. I think it could be a combination of his natural instincts kicking in, perhaps just getting tired of Daddy stealing his food. But I think his natural instincts will kick in as well, and it'll be time to search for somewhere new. We don't know for certain, though. With Tingana being the age that he is, who knows if Hosana's going to settle in and just wait for his father's retirement. Something that you can ask Tristan this afternoon on this afternoon SafariLive is because last week we did some of the stuff on the Juma clan. This week we're going to be doing a dissection of the leopard dynamics, and who better, of course, to address these topics but Tristan himself, especially since he's been here for the last year and a half when our dynamics have become really interesting. Go firm, you can make your way. crunching. I can hear him tucking into the bones now. Yes, Mark, we keep talking about poor Hosanna, but you are right. Hosanna's actually had a relatively good time of things so far. Mark says he's had a good life. Well, I don't know. Losing his mum at a year and 2 months must have been a bit of a shock, although Hosanna honestly seemed to take it in his stride. Shongile called and searched for Karula, where Hosanna actually kind of just bumbled on. Life is normal. And yes, it was tough for a little bit. He ate terrapins and monitor lizards and all sorts of yucky, unfilling meals. But he disappeared for a while. He went on a walk, decided that the big world out there was a little bit too scary at that stage, and came straight back and nestled himself quite contentedly into the core of his father's territory. Sensible, you have to admit. It is a sensible decision. Keeps him out of harm's way till he gets bigger and stronger. And so far his dad's not really shown not considerable aggression. He's growled at him a few times and knocked him about a little bit, but nothing life-threatening. We have to reposition in a moment to make some space for another vehicle that's coming in, and I would like to say hello to them. So while we do that, poor Sydney, I don't think he managed to find signal closer to those hyenas. Let's see where he's off to next.
I am now heading much more towards the Chitwa Dam. That is where I am going to try my last luck. Hopefully we might find something when we get there. Sierra, so far I haven't seen any rare species. I'm still waiting to discover that here in Djuma. The species that I'm seeing here is the species that I am used to see. I used to work for South African National Parks by the Marakele National Park, which is in Limpopo province, just about 180 kilometers from Johannesburg. And there they've got more or less same kind of animals. So the animal that I was seeing, but not very often, is the spotted hyena. Where I come from, I used to see the brown hyenas than the spotted hyenas. Spotted hyenas were shy there. Brown hyenas is the one I was seeing the most. But here it's opposite. I am seeing spotted hyenas and no brown hyenas. So we just to the dam at the moment. Maybe the hippopotamus will be out today, but it's cold a little bit here by the Chitwa area. It's not like Djuma. The wind blowing here is cold. The sun is shining, cloudy. Some of the areas are cloudy. Anna Marie, I have seen a pangolin not once, not twice, maybe 8 or 9 times since the beginning of my career. So those pangolins, mostly they come out just by October, end of October, beginning of November, when the wind is blowing, rain when the rain is promising to come, that is when those kind of animals come out a lot. But here in Djuma, I haven't seen any. So the impalas have just been drinking here, and I can see that the crocodiles somewhere here also hiding underwater. So maybe that crocodile there was looking at those impalas who were drinking. So they were not drinking far away from him. I can see another impala is coming, and the crocodile is just there, but he's hiding where it is at the moment. Look at that. So the crocodile submerged there. Another impala is coming to drink. So let's just see. Maybe this crocodile is going to be interested to move towards the impala. So that crocodile is slowly floating. And the impala is also observing, is following some safety procedures. So the impala is not yet comfortable to drink, still observing thoroughly. Look at that, it's confused, and impala decided not to drink. So it seems like this impala knows that here they are dangerous crocodile. Another impala is also moving down. Maybe they are going to discuss the safety and come together. So you can see now that the hippopotamus are right here. Maybe these hippos were going to help and defend these impalas. So the hippopotamus are very much quiet this morning. Normally they vocalize a lot when we come here. So the hippopotamus just got back early this morning because they are traveling every day. They travel very long distances. They can go up to 16 to 30 kilometers at night according to the food availability. So maybe these hippopotamus are going to come out to the bank here, but the sun is not too much. So the hippopotamus cannot swim. They just run underwater. And when they're running, a lot of people, they think they're swimming. So there is no challenges between the hippopotamus and these crocodiles. So these two, they are staying together. I don't know how crocodile is doing, especially when he's hungry, looking at the baby hippos. These are two different animals staying together, sharing the same territory. Amazing. So you can see there is some of the little ones. So the hippos, when they are underwater, they don't look big, but when it's out, they are very big animals. If you look at that animal, it looks very much small. But let that animal come out here, you're not going to believe the actual size of that animal. So they have to submerge and come out mostly after 5-6 minutes. So I just want to quickly check here. I think I've got a problem with the communication. FC, come on. FC, come in. I think I've got a problem with the communication here. I just want to quickly check. Maybe there's issues with my communications, the wiring.
I'm terribly sorry to interrupt poor Sydney. I did not mean to, but he unfortunately doesn't have any communications with our directors, so while they try and troubleshoot that, then we can enjoy this moment. Now they say, whoever they are, that hope is one of the most powerful forces in all the world, as powerful as love. And that sometimes if you just have enough hope, if you sit and wait patiently, your opportunities might just land in your lap. Which is, of course, exactly what's going on here. We have two hopefuls, two spotted hopefuls. One is Hosanna, who somehow thinks his dad's going to share, or perhaps simply cannot believe it's happened again. The other looks like Corky, who is lying underneath the carcass, waiting for Tingana to make a mistake, waiting for him to slip up, waiting for him to drop the kudu neatly into her waiting jaws. Well, it certainly explains a lot. Look at this upward tilt, the hopeward upward tilt of her muzzle. Must be torturous. Let's face it, though, it's not as though the Juma clan has... Oh! Osana gave a little bit of a growl there. He's stopped now, naturally. Hope springs eternal on Juma when it comes to the waiting scavengers. Oh, that's the way. She's not that hungry. She's not that badly off. She just has to sit patiently and wait. Maybe she'll get lucky, maybe she won't. Doesn't really matter to her, though. She doesn't have to stress too much. They've been very well fed. Osana, won't you just move slightly? This is the only view that we could get of the current situation. He's just there. I think he's gone to sleep. That is called youthful optimism. That right there. He's not going to get another bite of that meal. But he's going to sit and wait for it, just in case he's wrong. We had to make some decisions here, and ultimately we chose to come and investigate what was happening at the base of this milkberry, which leaves us with a somewhat, not an unpleasant view. It's just not the best view that we've ever had of Tingana. All we can really see is his rear end. I thought, actually, for 1 second that he was going to get lucky, and that he was, in fact, going to drop the carcass out of the tree. Or that the hyena was going to get lucky. But the truth is, with two male leopards here, that hyena probably, even if the carcass did come out of the tree, would have to be very quick off the mark. It would have to grab it and run, because Tingana would be straight down the tree and after it once again. When it comes to strength, hyenas are stronger than male leopards, but male leopards have speed and aggression on their side, and honestly they're about equally matched in weight. So it would be quite a battle, and typically hyenas don't pick fights with male leopards if they can help it. Ladybird, okay. So Ladybird says, please could I compare a hyena size to a breed of dog. Have you ever heard of a boerboel? Perhaps that's a bad description, because a boerboel is a South African breed of dog. It was bred for chasing lions. It is a massive, massive dog. I suppose the next step would be to compare it to a mastiff. Some sort of bull mastiff would be a good description. I mean, a big female hyena can top the scales at 80, maybe even 90 kilograms if she's recently eaten. So they're big animals. Shoulder height-wise, though, they're not much larger than, say, a mastiff, give or take. Definitely shorter than a Great Dane, but bulkier. Does that help you to get an idea of how big they are? You know what would be a really good way of showing you how big a hyena is to get Howard out. Howard is Brent's cardboard cutout hyena. Now, Howard has made brief appearances, usually for terrorizing new members of staff. What Brent does is he waits either until the evening or until the morning, and he's got a full-sized picture that's been printed out. Oh, sorry. Here's Hosanna. That's pretty. It's a nice angle. It was a nice angle. Now he's behind the trees. He's got a full-sized cutout of a hyena, and it's not a big hyena. It's a male hyena, I think, around the size of a male hyena, and he brings it out and he puts it in the pathways to the bathrooms, or between the camp and the car park, to scare the various members of staff as they walk around half asleep in a daze. Look at those shoulders. Where are we off to, boy? I wonder where he went. Might go follow him, actually. Let's take one last look at the hyena sleeping so I can finish off the story of Howard. So far, the best reaction to Howard has been Scott Dyson, who screamed at it for a solid 20 seconds before he realized it was not real. The other person was Sens. The other morning, it was so funny. He wasn't even facing the right way, but he came down in the half dark and he tried to reverse up the hill, but he skidded trying to get away from this cardboard cutout hyena. It's not very nice. It's a bit funny though. Howard has been to lots of places. He's travelled a little. He's actually quite a widely travelled cardboard cutout. Let's go across to Brent so he can tell you a bit more about his beloved Howard.
Yes, Howard has travelled far and wide. Howard has been to the big city. Howard has even been out to bars with me under my arm once or twice. But the most recent victims of Howard was, Senzo was quite spectacular. Senzo was walking, and then suddenly in the half light he saw Howard and went, "You!" and he tried to get away from it. Pat, who is on Bushwalk with us today from Dive Live, he was also a victim of Howard. Yes, Howard caught Pat. Pat was quite funny because there's a little wall, and he just kept popping his head past the wall going, guys, there's a hyena. Guys, there's a hyena. But it was just Howard. Jackie also got quite well done by Howard. Who didn't react too badly? Alicia, actually, for an American, handled it quite well. She just went, oh, and off she went. But the thing about Howard is you've got to use him sparingly. But before the end of the year, Howard will definitely make an appearance in a new spot. And it's actually quite a good thing to do every now and then to the staff, because I've noticed some bad habits. So especially in the morning when everyone's just woken up. Unfortunately, most people are not like me. As my feet hit the ground, I am as awake as I am right now. Doesn't take me long to get going. And I notice a lot of people in the early morning when they're getting up, walking with their heads down between FC and the vehicles and stuff like that. And of course, complacency is your enemy out in the bush. So one day there might be a buffalo, might be a lion. And if you're looking at your feet, you're not going to see them coming. Carol would like to know, how did Howard get his name? Howard the hyena. I don't know, suddenly we decided his name was Howard. So Howard comes from let me tell you the story about where Howard comes from. Howard comes from quite a bit before I joined SafariLive. I was working on a different TV show. I was actually a cameraman back then. And we were doing cognition studies with lions and hyenas and problem solving and stuff like that. And Howard was put up in front of hyenas to see how they would react, to see how they identified different individuals in the clan, whether it was by spots and stuff like that. The problem with Howard is he was two-dimensional, and the hyenas didn't fall for it. Lions, on the other hand, not quite as intelligent as hyenas. And we were doing, actually one of the other tests we did was a species choice. So we had a cardboard warthog, kudu, we had warthog, impala, kudu, buffalo, all life size on masonite boards. And one lioness would go for the warthog or the impala, 2 lionesses for the kudu, and the moment we added a male to the mix, they would go for the buffalo. But the funniest thing is, you could do, so we were working with, well, not tame lions, but lions in an area where we could recreate the same experiment with the same cats over and over. But the funniest thing is that when those lions hit those cardboard cutouts at huge speed, full speed, bah, they'd hit it, and obviously it'd go flat. And then they'd be like, don't understand, where's the kudu gone? Where's the buffalo gone? The hyenas, however, did not take any notice whatsoever of the 2-dimensional cutouts. Now, also one of the other interesting things we did was with male lion dominance. We had a stuffed lion, a taxidermist lion, but he didn't have a big mane. So we managed to procure some yak hair. Don't ask me how, but we found yak hair, dark black yak hair, and we made a fake mane for this stuffed male lion, and we put it out in the open, and the first male was a blonde ginger male with a female, and he immediately saw this big black mane male and started cowering and being nervous and not going close to it, and the female started trying to mate with it, flicking her tail in his face and all sorts, showing submission and all that, and then put those lions away. 2 different lions, a big black maned male lion named Bobcat and his girlfriend Gabby, and we put them in there. Bobcat didn't even stop. He saw that thing, he charged in, whacked this stuffed lion, absolutely smashed it, and Gabby came in and grabbed the stuffed lion by the throat. They tore it apart. That is why you have shoot insurance, because the owner was not impressed that the lions had ripped apart his taxidermist lion. Okay, well, enough about lions. Let's send you back to Jamie and the leopards.
Come on, Hosanna. There we go. Framed up beautifully by the flower of the weeping boerbean. And I didn't even have my camera on me. Well, I do, but I got distracted. Hosanna's had it. He's off. He's had enough. This is just too much. He is stalking off, looking somewhat disgruntled as he wanders along. He also doesn't look, honestly, he doesn't look as full as I expected him to be. We're going to keep up with him. Tingana's not going to move, and I don't think Tingana's going to let that carcass fall into the waiting jaws of the hyena below. So we're going to stick with Hosanna and see where he's off to next. Maybe we can catch up with him again on the sunset safari. He's hunting again. Honestly, looks like he wants something to eat. Connie Babe, minimally. Connie Babe wants to know if trees benefit from the carcass nutrients that they return to the... Which way are we going? Up. Okay, I'm going to go round. No, he's seen something. Look at that body language. Sorry, Connie Babe, stand by. Oh, I came to a very gentle halt there. I did not in any way throw the camera around. He's seen something. I don't want to reposition because I think it's on the other side of this termite mound. And I don't want to... to come around a termite mound like this, we're going to disturb whatever's underneath it. Okay, his body language is relaxed a little bit. So I think whatever it was saw him. Still listening. Let me just sit for a second and make sure we don't upset any of the balance. I don't think that trees really benefit from the nutrients that carcasses offer. I think that the benefit, if there is one, is very small. Perhaps a little bit of extra mineral content or something like that. What we do know is that the great migration and the number of carcasses, okay, I think we can move, the number of carcasses that collect in the river and go uneaten and that decompose in the Mara River, apparently they contribute quite significantly to the nutrient content of the river themselves. I find that fascinating because what about other rivers? What sort of effect does it have on the river having an extra because most rivers don't have a million wildebeest throwing themselves into it and half or a fair portion of them dying. I don't know exactly how it changes the ecosystem of the Mara River. I should actually read that study properly. Okay, all right, fair enough. We'll go around the other way. He's changed his mind. We're going this way instead. He was posing so beautifully too while I was nattering about Mara River and nutrients. The station's Hosanna is now mobile east towards Weaver's Nest, Philemon's Dip side. Hosanna is mobile east. He's almost at the Philemon's Dip Misikaya entrance now. Look at this Franklin. Crested Franklin. It just looked so indignant. It was all puffed up with its crest showing. He does walk with confidence here, talking about how he's had a good life so far. He does walk around as if he owns the place. He doesn't walk around like a shy young male leopard who is afraid of attracting attention of a dominant male somewhere. He walks as though he was born to rule this territory. Which, of course, he wasn't. Because that's not how it works, usually. Okay, I'm having a lie down now. Let's just see the tip of his tail going like this. He's been spotted by everything. There's squirrels' alarm calling at him, and just a little twitch of his white tail. I think he's irritated this morning. I really do. He's giving me that feeling. Don't really blame him. Oh, angry Franklin. Just listen to it. You can't see it, but just listen to it for a second. So cross. I know we're watching the leopard, but I'm just laughing at this Franklin. They always sound like they're crying when they've had a close encounter with a bird of prey or a leopard. I can also hear a squirrel going frantic. Oh, hi, Bacon. Grumpy bird indeed. Grumpy bird, grumpy leopard. And after all of that, popping in to check the Philemon's Cutline den site, as I did before I came to Hosanna, he's taking us straight there. Biggs, did you ask me for a link? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. There we go. We're going to stick with the young chief, since I feel as though Sydney did most of the hard work this morning, sticking with Tundi. While we watch Hosanna's tail twitch, let's go to the man himself to see how he's feeling about his morning.
I am now patrolling the Juma territory. I am on the main road just to try and see if I can find some fresh tracks here of the big predators such as the lions. So I've just left Chitwa a long time ago as the signals were very bad there. So no tracks of the big predators such as lions crossing over the road here. So maybe the lions are much more towards the Buffalo's Hook area. So it is much more open from here where I am, looking at these bushes and quite a lot of termite mounds. It's very easy to pick up the predators here. So now let's go back to the bushwalk.
One of the trees I have quite a soft spot for is the rain tree or apple leaf, Phalaenoptera valencia. And it just reminds me of some of the really wonderful, really wild parts of Africa that I've been fortunate enough to work in and live in. And in particular, to the east of here, in the Kruger and the little river systems there, on the basalt plains, this is one of the sort of predominant trees we get there. Now, a very bad tree to ever build your house under. They fall over a lot, the branches break off a lot in the wind. And they get the nickname the rain tree because of a tiny little bug called a spittle bug that during the dry season will actually feed off the sap of these trees and weeping wattles. And it doesn't happen too often, but sometimes if you're standing underneath one, it can feel like it's raining. But really you're just being urinated on by bugs, the spittle bugs. But the urine is fortunately 98% water, and they extract as many nutrients as they can out of the sap and then excrete it, and they excrete it really quickly, so hence the impression of rain. Well, we've had a lovely morning walk. We've done quite a fair bit, probably just under 9 kilometers today, and unfortunately we were searching for elephants to see if we could find some on foot, but we didn't happen to find any. The ones we heard crossed south into Little Gowrie, but we did get that wonderful view of Hosanna on foot this morning. Michael's wondering, are there any mammals that can be considered keystone species? Michael, a lot. Lions, hyenas, buffalo, elephant, hippopotamus, are all keystone species. The removal of just one of them will completely change an ecosystem. Now, the bigger ones, like buffalo and elephant, I mean, you can see an area where buffalo and elephant have been lacking for a long time. The bush becomes over thick, it becomes encroached, there's no elephants breaking it up, and the big herds of buffalo are basically mobile fertilizer machines. And so with their hoof action as well, as they dig into the soil with those hooves and they defecate at the same time, it adds nutrients into the soil. So a lot of animals are keystone species. Frogs, bees, all sorts. There's many different tree species can also be keystone species. So there are many different types. Vultures from the birds. So in every different sort of animal grouping or family you can find a keystone species. Termites, probably one of the biggest keystone species around. The removal of termites, this whole bush would change. It would actually become almost dormant and dead. There wouldn't be as many nutrients in the soil, which affects everything else. So yes, there's lots of keystone species. Mammal, arthropod, invertebrate, amphibian. But anyway, we're going to start heading towards breakfast because I'm sure Craig is hungry after his 9-kilometer walk, and see what's there. In the meantime, Jamie is with Hosanna, who lost his breakfast.
He did, and I think he's very sad about it. How far do you think they did walk, Darby? 5. My money's on 5. About 5 Ks. Shh, don't tell him I said that, Megs. Divide by 2. So we're finishing off our sunrise safari with the lovely Hosanna on his way to Treehouse Dam, a place he knows well. He grew up there. Karula spent vast amounts of time around Treehouse. Okay, we're going to try catch up with him so that we don't miss out on him for the last 4 minutes. Right at the Philemon's Cutline Den, by the way. The den is just to my left. Okay, cool. I'm going to try catch up with Hosanna. Sydney apparently has a view of Tingana stretched out in the Milkberry.
I have got this lovely cat here. I am not too sure which one is it because it's quite on a distance. I can see it from my left-hand side here, and I'm not too sure which one is this one. He's got a kill at the moment, not very far away from the road, and this is by one of the concession, not very far away from Juma. It doesn't look like a Tingana. So I'm just trying to have a look there. It's MM. It's MM. So I can see that there is quite a lot of vehicles as they're having a sighting. By looking at that, I cannot see the face from this side where I am at the moment, and there is no way that I can get much closer because this is by the private concession. So I am now just by the Gori Main. So now let's quickly go back to Jamie.
I was so confused. I was trying to work out how Sydney had managed to teleport himself all the way to Tingana. You must have heard how surprised I sounded in the link. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I'm happy now. I want to show you something quickly. This beautiful path that Hosanna's walking down looks like a hiking trail. A path that leads directly to the water's edge. Of course, the animals use these paths just in the same way humans appreciate having paths. It's a natural walkway that's developed over time as animals have wandered to and from the waterhole. Okay, Darby, we've got a minute. Let me catch up with him. I'll get you there at the 40-second mark. Or I'll try to. That's a good boy. You stay there like a good little boy so we can finish. Oh dear, he's not going to stay, is he? All right. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Darby, making Darby work hard here. As Hosanna poses perfectly on the step of the path leading down to Treehouse Waterhole. A very busy morning here on the Sunrise Safari. Lots to do this afternoon, so don't forget to join us in a few short hours to catch up with our favorite animals. Thank you for joining us, everyone. It's been a pleasure sharing these moments with all of you. We look forward to seeing you.